Alright, hey, I wanted to talk about uh, this game. It made this game. It's called Final Fantasy VII Remake. The game makes me very mad. Not because it's a difficult game or anything. It's actually really easy. Not because it's like just so tedious for it being like an action game. And I mean that, like, it's not an RPG at all. It is just straight up an action game. The only, like, RPG elements there are is, like, leveling up, which most action games have, anyways. So, the things that make me mad about the game is, like, some, like, when you're traversing around the world, like, doing the missions and stuff, sometimes it would just, like, force you off like a path you're going in order for it to point you to the correct path. Like it literally takes control away from you and then tries to steer you right to the correct path. Another thing is like it has a lot of forced walking segments. Like it forces you to like go slow. It forces you to go like a snail's pace, and other games do that, but it does it like all the time. It's like constant. Another thing that really gets me about it is the combat is just not very good. Like the, all you do the combat, you just mash X. That's it. You just mash X to win. Sometimes you press A to dodge, but most of the time you're just mashing X. Like there's guarding and stuff, but that doesn't really matter anyway. All you do is just X, 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 smash the X button to win. Kind of like 15, but with 15, you held the button to win. This one, you're just mashing it. It's brain dead combat. And there's menus, though, to use powers, and like your break, and like your limit break, and your summons, but that's really it. Other than that, it's just X, X, X all the time. The whole combat's just X, X, X to build up ATB, and then when you build up ATB, you use a two abilities, and then you just rinse and repeat until you defeat all the enemies. And another thing is the like when you're first starting off, and even like way after, the enemies they take way too many hits to kill. Like they're like damage sponges, like all the enemies too. Even like the low level like scrubs, like the sewer rats or stuff like that, they take too many hits to kill. Like about the same as like the boss fight. The boss fight takes only slightly more hits to kill than like the normal enemies. And I've been playing the game for like 14 hours. Actually, wait, let me check actually. How long have I been playing? 17 hours. And I just can't like stomach the game. I I'm on chapter 11. I don't even know how many chapters there are. Uh, can I check? How many chapters are there? Oh, they're locked. Anyway, it's just, I don't know. Like, it's just so boring. The game's just boring. I've been having more fun with, like, the outdated, like, super outdated, like, turn-based combat. Because I was playing, I'm playing, like, Final Fantasy 9 again. Because, it's one of my favorites. And I've been having more fun in that than, uh, 7 Remake. Also, another Final Fantasy game that's really good is Stranger of Paradise. I recently got a Steam Deck, and I've been just playing it on that, and it's a really like fun game. It has fun like combat. Yeah, you can. There's like a whole tree of like combos and like power ups and shit you can unlock, which is not really on like Remake. Remake is just XX build ATB, use two abilities, use a Raver and a power thrust on Cloud XXX. And then I think the worst playing character in Remake is Barret. All you do is hold Y, hold like, I can't remember if it's Y or X, but you hold one of those buttons to like shoot like the flying enemies. And sometimes you fire like a like a power shot that does slightly more damage. But his bullets do like no damage at all. When I was last playing Barret, I think like what the reactor or something, like trying to blow up the fifth Mako reactor. But it's just so boring. And I'm looking at like Final Fantasy like 7 Rebirth, the newer one, the newest one that came out last month. And I was looking at gameplay of that, and it looks more boring somehow. Like I was looking at it, and it had like Ubisoft like towers, like Breath of the Wild, like Ubisoft towers, where he was like Cloud was putting some shit in some tower, and it like shoots up, and then it reveals part on the map, the fucking Ubisoft shit that every game does now. Like Zelda does it, fucking Sonic did it for some reason. I mean, Sonic Frontiers is also boring for that reason. And then I was looking at like more, and it's very it's got like the stench of like that company everyone's talking about, the Sweet Baby. It's got their stench all over it. Like there's a lot of mixed race couples, like, which isn't a big deal, but the biggest deal is that they made the Moogle ugly. Like the Moogle looks so fucking ugly in Rebirth. I don't know what the hell. I don't know who designed the Moogle. It looks good in the. I don't know if it looked good in the other game. The last game with a Moogle I played. It wasn't. It was on the Xbox. I think I have it on disc somewhere. Type Zero. Yeah, Type Zero. I played that on the Xbox, and Moogles look good in there. And that's came out like 2015. I have it on disc. I barely played it. I should probably, but then like I'd have to play on Xbox, which I don't like playing on the newer consoles as much as like my older consoles over there. Like also I was playing Dirge of Cerberus. That game's actually fun to play, even with the PS2 controller. It'd probably be better if I plugged in the keyboard and mouse. But I think my keyboard doesn't work on my PS2. Might be too new or something. And then also on Rebirth, the gameplay, like it was just the same mash X, build up ATB, damage sponge enemies, and like it had like this is one video I saw on, where it's like you have to crawl towards Sephiroth, and it's very slow. You have to press the L2 and the R2 for each hand, and there's like 5 seconds in between where you can press it, and it's just boring. And I was looking, and Square Enix was like disappointed with the sales, I read that somewhere, and I can see why. No one wants to play that. It's boring. Even like I know someone who likes games like that. Like some guy I know, he actually likes Horizon, if you can believe it. The PlayStation game that like no one plays. And even he thinks Remake is boring. Like the game's just not fun. And the story's garbage as well. I don't know, it's just it's like very slow, shallow gameplay. And everything just takes so uh, there's there's something very specific too I hate about it. Like instead of pressing Y to like interact with stuff, you have to hold it down the Y button for 5 seconds in order for the interaction to happen. Like that's just padding, just needless padding. It should just be press one button to interact. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's it. I probably won't be playing Rebirth like at all. It's just boring. Like remakes are boring. It's a very boring game. I probably don't recommend buying it. Okay.